Well, I was born in Lake Forest. That's a suburb of Chicago, and that was in 1923, 100 years and 6 months ago. I had graduated in 1940, so I was out of school. News wasn't quite like it is today. Turn on the TV and you get something immediately. But eventually, that evening, we'd heard that Pearl Harbor had been bombed. And of course, at that time, Pearl Harbor to me was unknown. I didn't even know where it was. I got my draft notice, I think, in January of 1943. There was 3 desks, a Army desk, a Navy desk, and a Marine. A fellow ahead of me, he said, "I want to be in the Marines." The guy said, "You're in the Army, go that way." I was next. So he said, "Hey, Bill," he said, "you got your choice of the Navy or the Army. What do you want?" And I said, "I'll take the Navy, go that way." And the fellow behind me, I heard him say, "I'll take the Navy too." And the recruiter said, "You're in the Army, go that way." We were told we were in the Armed Guard, and the Armed Guard isn't quite what it sounds like. I thought it was probably somebody standing at an office building with a gun guarding the place, but no. Armed Guard means that you were the signalmen and gunners aboard merchant ships. In wartime, merchant ships are fitted with guns to protect themselves. Our job is not really to find a fight, it's to run from a fight to get the cargo delivered or the troops, whatever we're hauling. And the biggest guns we were trained on were 5-inch guns. Means that you shoots a projectile 5 inches in diameter and about 12 to 15 inches long, and it will hurl that projectile through the air up to 21 miles. And at that time, the ship was loaded again with jeeps, all sorts of military equipment to take to New Guinea. And we set sail. It was a 30-day trip from San Francisco to New Guinea. Merchant ships didn't have much what they call high-tech radar like the Navy ships had. So quite often the Navy ships would communicate with us to tell us if there's a sub-alert, whether you're in the middle of sleep or what. Everybody, the bell rings and you all go to your guns. Most of the time it was just false alarms. We wouldn't be attacked. But occasionally we would be. And of course, we would worry at night. You don't see much at night. And fortunately, we never did. We had some torpedoes that just missed us. And this was in the daytime. We saw them, but we never did get torpedoed. I won't say you overcome your fear, but after a while, you just kind of get used to it. It's there every day. When we were first in New Guinea, there was only 4 or 5 docks, and every few nights the Japanese would come over and they'd blow them up, bomb them. They knew that would prevent us from, and of course they'd try to bomb the ships in the harbor. At times we would fire at them. Every other shell in the 20 millimeter guns was what they call a tracer. It would light up red hot. The sky would be filled with tracers from other ships firing also at the same time. I was on that Liberty ship for a full year, and we happened to be in Sydney, Australia, and I woke up one morning not feeling very well. And the doctor said to me, "Son," he said, "you're going to the hospital." And I said, "Oh, I can't go to the hospital." I said, "We're sailing tomorrow." He looked at me and said, "Did you hear what I said? You're going to the hospital. You've got malaria." We saw more action in Okinawa the 7 or 8 days that we were there than I saw the whole rest of the time of the war. During the daytime, there are a lot of ships in the bay, and the battleships are just firing salvos hour after hour at the island before anybody invaded it yet. But we're in the bay with these other ships, and during the day they furnished us with some type of material that would make fog, smoke, and it would cover the bay so that they couldn't see us to kamikaze us. And then at night, of course, it would be dark. But one night they would send a reconnaissance plane, the Japs would, over the Bay Area and to see what was going on, see if they could spot anything from the moonlight. And we heard this little reconnaissance plane. It sounded like a Maytag washing machine motor from, just a pop. And we knew it was just a small airplane. So all of a sudden the ships start firing at it. And suddenly there was silence, and that airplane is still there. And everybody's laughing and laughing. Nobody could hit that airplane. 3,000 Marines are still on our ship waiting to go over the side down a rope ladder. But we were probably there for, I think, 4 days before they got the signal to, okay, the LSTs would come up and all the troops would come to go down the side of the ship on a rope ladder, because we're out in the middle of the bay. And but it gave us a sense of security to know that those big battleships were there doing all of this firing, and we felt very safe except for kamikaze airplanes. One actually hit the water. It was headed towards our ship, and it hit the water. It was shot down. We'd like to say we shot it down, but there were so many ships firing at it that, we don't know. But we shot it down. It actually hit the water and close to the ship, bounced into the ship. Didn't do any damage, a small hole. But so that was the closest we got to being kamikazed. At Okinawa, just before we left, some boats came out with prisoners of war. They were all dressed in orange and big POW on their back, and we weren't supposed to fraternize with them at all. But we had the Army on there who was guarding them. They were only in a certain area of the ship. And I would go by that area all the time. And of course, I was doing magic, practicing my magic those days. And so one day I stopped and started I asked the army guy, I said, can I show them a couple of tricks? And every time they'd see me, if I'm getting close, the Japanese, they'd go crazy. Even at that time, I've never been against the Japanese people. The Japanese people didn't start the war. It was the warlords, the people in charge. The Japanese people are fine people for the most part, like everybody is. We're all equal. But you get a guy like Hitler and a guy like, we called him Tojo. Over the loudspeaker it came, we have a very important announcement. Hear this. The war is over. Couldn't believe it. Totally shocked. Are they sure the war's over, or is this somebody just saying this? When I got home, I think I'd been home for a couple of weeks, and I thought, boy, I'm sure lucky that I made it. Because I won't say a lot, but out of my class in high school, 6 were killed. And I think of them all the time. You conquer things that you never dreamed that you could do. Before I went in the Navy, I never dreamed in 6 months before I went in that I'd be running a big gun. You can't believe it yourself when it's happening. It's almost like an accident. You're in shock the first few minutes that it's all going on, and it doesn't hit home until later.